Welcome, fellow travelers. I'm Anduin GS of the Gray Sentinels. I'm joining Chibi and Vertek at the Golden Feather. Come on in, grab a seat, and let's share tales of adventure.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Golden Feather Tavern, where your hosts, Chibi and Vertek, discuss Ashes of Creation and important topics spoken about within the Ashes community. Every week we invite you, the viewer, and a special guest to pull up a chair, grab a pint, and join the conversation with us. Today is the 15th of September, 2023. We are on episode 179, Mayor Anduin for RPVX. And in case you couldn't tell from the title, our guest today, our traveling bard, joining us for merriment and delight is Anduin. How are you today?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's the end of the school week, so I don't have to deal with any more kids.
Oh, that's always fun.
Yep.
Always a bonus. Always a bonus.
Good to have some relaxing times.
No, absolutely. It's karaoke later tonight, so.
Ooh, sounds like fun.
Nice. Well, and the other lovely voice over here is Chibi. How are you today?
Hello, I'm doing pretty fine myself. Yeah, I'm doing pretty fine. I just got home last night from a work trip, so if I'm a little weird, I'm jet lagged, I'm sorry.
Can't blame all the weirdness on that, though. Just saying.
Lucky I don't have a tongue stick out yet. One of these days I will. But we do have a goal set up, by the way. We have some fun ideas for the September goals, and one of them is including you guys terrorizing me for our October plans, which I will tell more about later. But essentially, I've never played a Dark Souls game. I've never done much with a Dark Souls game. And you guys might be, should we get to the goal, taking a part in terrorizing me with a Dark Souls game. So, yeah. But enough about me and about us. You are here for the one, the only, Aurelian Griff of Gray Sentinels.
Nice to be here. Nice to be here.
Please tell us, for those that may be new to the community, who are you, what are you about, and why Ashes?
So I am the guild leader of the Gray Sentinels. We are a massive roleplay PVX guild. If people don't know what RPPVX means, it's roleplay, and we play every part of the game, including PvP. Yes, role players do PvP. The reason why Ashes, for me, and I feel like the vast majority of role players out there, at least the ones I've interacted with, have said they want that immersion. They want a game where they can truly get lost in and have a way to role play by simply playing the game. They want to be able to have their characters be in those sieges, to talk about killing those monsters, to exploring the deep, dark depths of every corner of Vera. So that's why.
Okay.
Yep.
And you chose Ashes. Like, did you form over Ashes, or were you kind of already a loose guild and then kind of joined Ashes with that?
Yeah, so Gray Sentinels was founded way back in Kickstarter. Basically, we had a bunch of people that were friends beforehand. We played different games and stuff. Ashes came out, and we formed on up. And since then, we played dozens of games together. We have friendships that have lasted almost a decade. And I think it's really important because a big pillar of what we as a guild want to put forward is we really want that family feeling of, this is your family online. These are the people that have your back and will support you. And I absolutely know that, my guild members have my back and have had supported numerous members over the years. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And speaking of members, I know that I will be speaking with 2 of your officers next week, one of which is in charge of new membership joining. So why should a new member join you? What do you have to offer?
So first and foremost, we are the largest RP PvX guild in the Ashes of Creation community. Probably we are just the largest roleplay guild, period. Yes, there's a lot of people who find large guilds scary. But what I can say in a game like Ashes, having more people online means you have more chances to get into raids, more chances to find people to go on dungeons, protection when you're going out for gathering. Not to mention that your caravans would get more people to go along with them. There's a whole plenty of reasons to join a larger guild. Why to join my guild itself? Why is Grey Sentinels different than other guilds? We are looking to build up lore that is based on what our members want. It is not just what the officers decide. We want to build up something bigger. We want to build up those friendships and relationships for our members, and we really want to ensure that the stories told are ones that our members can be proud of and can build upon. So,
okay.
And also if you want a PvP and PvX or PvP, PvE, also welcome. We have a lot of non-role players in our guild as well, but we're all here to enjoy the game together.
Awesome. I love that. Honestly, I've never been a part of an actual roleplay community. I've joined online channels where there's people role-playing within them. I've never really completely role-played in a game either. And in fact, I was watching Loreforge. They were talking about their first experiences engaging and interacting with our peers within a game. And I know World of Warcraft has kind of upped this ante a little bit, especially with the I don't know about as a newer thing, but with Classic, the last time I was playing Classic was when Ulduar came out. And whoever beat Ulduar, there was the fireworks, and they were saying, this hero is slaying our great foe. They made it very immersive, roleplay wise, and it was really kind of cool. And I imagine for the guilds that did get to experience those, for them, it was quite exciting and that was us, we did it, kind of a feeling.
Absolutely.
I think it's really cool to have things like that as part of the world. But I'm interested in seeing how Ashes of Creation is going to deal with that. That's the cue to drop the fact that GS has a large group doing World of Warcraft right now. Yeah, we were actually talking about that before this.
Yeah, we're really enjoying WoW right now, and it's been funny because we'll bump into people who will be literally role playing as they're doing dungeons and stuff. We'll have tanks taking a break to be wiping the sweat off their brow and stuff, or I ran across some guy who I had helped him kill a monster, and he's "Oh, thank you, laddie," because he was a dwarf, and he gave me 100 gold. He's "I don't need this," and it's just. It's fun to kind of escape into the world when all these issues that we deal with in the day-to-day. It's just nice to escape from it. I feel like that's why most people are MMO gamers, so they have somewhere to be outside of what they're dealing with.
Yeah. I agree with that one. I always, I don't know, I like when playing some people in my party had this, but other people that I did raids and dungeons with, they had the add-on that did a role play when they would revive you.
Oh yes, the macros. Yep.
Yes. I wonder if Ashes will let you do something like that. I know they said no, but hey, I think it's too early to just take no for no.
Well, I mean, we can just heckle Steven until he lets us have it. I mean, that's what's worked in the past with the roleplay community so far. You know, the things that we've tried to get, I've heckled him relentlessly for him, much to the dislike of all the PvPers. So.
Oh no! Oh no!
It's always funny. Yeah.
My final question before we get into the rest of our podcast is, what is the best? Let me see if it's popping up. I'm getting nervous because it's not popping up. Hold on. Oh, start poll. Maybe that'll help. Which node type would be the best for roleplay? Divine, economic, military, scientific, or trick question? All of them.
I didn't get that in.
Oh no!
Is that the?
Yep, that's the link I sent you earlier.
Okay, I'll get that set up right now.
It's okay. Technical difficulties. You're dealing with the Rona. It's just what it is.
So I started using this new one today because I did some research, and this allows you guys to type in your answers. So if you're on mobile, you no longer have that cursed Twitch only if you're on a computer voting system.
Yep.
So I like that better. And I think the cool thing is, if it's not too long of words, you can also do like yes or no, for example. And I think that would have counted should it be a yes or no answer. So I think that's really cool. I don't know if changing your answer from 1 to 2 actually moves it. I think it did actually. It literally changed your answer from 1 to 2. That's cool. But
I know for myself, I think it depends on the type of role player you are. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, each one of them could be. You know, the big thing is there is a lot. You know, how you have elitists with everything. You know, you're elitists with PvP. You're elitists who are raiders. You know, raiders can be some of the most toxic people you'll ever interact with.
yeah.
Everyone that sucks says that. Jeez.
Yeah, exactly. Your rating's not high enough, you know, or you're not using the meta. But role players also have their own elitists and stuff. And, you know, I'm a type of person where I classify if a PvPer is out there and they're light role playing, they're enjoying the game, you know, they're in a siege and they, you know, maybe post like a small like huzzah charge or whatever. I count that as a role player. So like,
Yeah.
you know, if they're in a military node and they're role playing that they're fighting the fight and trying to become the mayor in this big, huge, you know, brawl, then I think that's really cool and unique to look at, you know? So,
Yeah, I agree. I like that.
yeah. So, I mean, like every single one of them. I mean, I know, for example, our person who's our officer for economics and stuff in our guild, she's planning to play this kind of like stingy, greedy penny pincher type character, you know, and it's interesting because she's also planning to actually start cornering the market and learning what goods are beneficial for the guild to have. What can she make a quick buck off of? You know, I think there's a little bit of everything for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. I like it. All right, so today we will be talking about game mechanics such as bosses, sound and perception ideas, node identity types, and specialization ideas, as well as some questions from the community, Ashes news, and other random community topics, such as a whisper of potentially a Halloween event from the lore, some leaks, and some new content in the Ashes of Creation content creator world. I found people that were making art and YouTube videos, so very excited. And yes, our favorite time of the year is spooky time. So I think I will go ahead and start us off with, well, actually, what do you feel in a calling towards? Because whichever topic you choose, we'll stick within that topic for a little bit of time. Are you talking
to me or are you talking to Vertex?
You are the guest, so you are the
one
driving.
Oh, no. Well, okay, good thing I haven't started drinking yet.
I would hope you're the guest. Otherwise, you're just like somebody I accidentally got in the portal. I'm sorry.
Some random, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about game mechanics with bosses. That one sounds actually fun. I've always loved game mechanics that, bosses are really complex.
Awesome. All right. So going into the game mechanics section. So this is from Morph Was Taken on the forums. And pardon my voice. I was at a work thing. I went to my first karaoke bar and I sang very loudly and then I strained it. So I did not sing on stage though. I sang from the crowd. So anyway.
Karaoke gets everybody.
I think so, yes. Morph Was Taken says it's counterintuitive but makes perfect sense in context of AOC. Most rewarding world bosses can be mechanically most simple, since large portion of the challenge will come from other players. Those bosses just need to feel epic with huge AOEs. It also works the other way. Most complex bosses can be given the least reward. This will make them the least contested, perfect for those who primarily seek a great PvE experience. This provides a nice content gradient from primarily PvE to primarily PvP, while being PvX all the way through. Makes sense thematically as well. If there are 200 players around a huge dragon in the field, it's just going to breathe fire at 50 of them, not really do some intricate mechanic. While some dungeon-dwelling mystery monster can be all kinds of unexpected and complex. Food for thought. What are your thoughts?
So I think, like wandering bosses is always a thing that I feel makes games super immersive. It's the one where, I want wandering bosses to be the most difficult thing, and I want them to only spawn once a week and be so difficult that if you happen upon them with only a 40-man raid, you're going to wipe in maybe a minute or two. Like, it needs to be difficult, and I think difficulty also comes with understanding mechanics. Like, one thing that, I think that wandering bosses always get wrong is they are predictable. They, like he just said, you have the breathe fire, maybe a stun, an AoE. I want this thing to have, as it gets to different stages of health, different things happen. And, it would take people months to learn all of the different mechanics, because if you get to a point and you mess up, it wipes your whole party and everything. Like, that's what wandering bosses should be. They should be an achievement to kill and not just a thing to farm.
Right.
Like, I do think that, yeah, obviously dungeon bosses should have those complex, mechanics, because it makes it feel more immersive and gives you longevity in people wanting to play that dungeon. Because let's be honest, all the dungeons that most people can remember are the ones that were tough for them to beat, because they had to learn mechanics, they had to figure out what was going on, and go from there.
Right. Some of the things that chat's saying, Thea said, well, from my experience, world bosses are mostly easy because they never scale properly. It can still be fun, though. Personally, I'd prefer a range of easy to super hard world bosses. Also, world bosses that adapt to the players. And also that they should spawn more than once a week. And then Phoenix Fire, welcome back, by the way, says, I feel like the fight area has to be set up in a specific way that the boss can target and deal with large parties to avoid the spread out and avoid the head kind of plan of attack, essentially. And I think both are very fair things. Like, these are things that we can learn from previous MMOs, and I know with Ashes being PVX, it's very interesting to see how they plan to go about with their monster AI, for lack of a better word. But I think also having a combination where if it can intelligently sense that people are more spread out, it might do a more spread out fire to hit more people, but it would do less damage because you're not focusing on a smaller area anymore. Otherwise, if people are grouped up to hide somewhere, it would do a smaller cone of fire damage, probably. Just taking that dragon perspective.
Yeah, I think, the big thing that we have on our side is we're not dealing with, old MMOs, spaghetti code or whatever. Like, they can code in the AI to react to different situations and stuff. Like, it's the fact that they can reinvent the wheel, and that's fine, because a lot of people with PvE, a lot of people that don't like PvE because it's predictable and it gets boring over time. Like, that seems to be the biggest complaint I've always heard about when people get bored of raiding or something. It's that nothing changes. You're just doing the same thing over and over each week, so
right. Vertec, did you have anything you wanted to add in?
Ooh, actually, sorry, I was putting some stuff together there. I think I'm done with that now, though. Sorry, what was the question?
We're just talking about this post by Morph was taken about their idea is that if the boss has a lot of really sought after loot on their loot table, they should have more simple attacks, because those are generally going to be the more PvP focused bosses, whereas bosses that have less sought after loot might potentially have a more complex skill of attacks to kind of counter the, hey, we're not as sought after for the loot, but this is rewarding for the PvEer, essentially.
Oh,
while
that's
being
a terrible
PVX all the way
idea.
through.
That's a terrible idea, I think.
Okay.
Mainly just because if it's sought after loot, if everybody wants it, then yeah, the PvE people are going to go and just crush it really quick on their way to the hard stuff. If they do the hard stuff, because they may or may not have time. Yeah, they're going to make a quick stop by the easy stuff, collect the free loot, and then go do the hard stuff that might take up a big block of time. Yeah, it'll have basically the opposite approach, or result rather.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. There was just a pause there. I thought you were done for a second. I would also go to say, I think half the fun with PvEers, as a PvEer, if something is complex more so than other things, I would say that should have better loot, because I'm working hours to get through all of these complex moves and learning, okay, this is what this does, this is what that does, this is how I avoid it, I have to heal through this, I have to get out of that, etc. And with all of that effort, if the reward is not high enough, then it's not worth PvEing that boss. Which kind of comes back to your point. They'd probably zerg through the world boss that has less intense stuff. But I think where Morph was trying to come from with this was that because that boss has stuff that they're really sought after for items, that means that it's going to increase the number of people trying to come get those items. So that means you're fighting a boss plus players instead of just the boss.
Yeah, the problem being is that there's going to be so many people swarming there, the boss is going to die. Somebody's going to engage it, and then everybody showing up to contest for the loot is going to end up fighting the boss and other players at the same time.
Yeah.
And the boss, it's going to end up dying.
Yeah.
Because worst case scenario, it's going to end up being a PvE group coming through with a PvP group, and they each take their own thing.
Can I pitch an idea here, a scenario, if you will? What about the event where a smaller guild who's a PvP guild is fighting a larger PvP guild? They are leading larger PvP guild towards this wandering boss, and the point is they are using that wandering boss as a weapon against the other larger PvP group. I think that in a game like they're trying to build, bosses, NPCs, whatever you're facing, could potentially be used as a weapon against other players, and I am all for that. I love the idea of actually making them kind of hard, so they could, you know, if someone's like, oh, we spotted, you know, Nessie over here in, you know, Green Forest or something like that, and then they're like, okay, well, we're gonna guide them over there, and then, you know, they run into Nessie, and then suddenly that's when they start pushing because they know that boss's mechanics. You know,
yeah.
I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Virtek?
I mean, I could definitely see something like that being neat. I think the game would have to really be aiming to do that on purpose, so they'd need to be designing their boss battles around something like that. But even then, if part of the feature of a boss is to get players to use it against other players, there's going to be some kind of an exploit / cheese / griefing mechanic that's going to end up coming out of it. I see it happening. Somebody's going to find a way to do it. And granted, my knee-jerk reaction is, yeah, it's a terrible idea to do all the harder boss for easy or cheap loot and easy bosses for the desirable loot. But I mean, it remains to be seen. I've never played a game that had so many open world everythings.
Right.
You know,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
You do bring up a good point, though. I mean, I know in WoW, back when I did PvP, we would regularly kind of guide a question mark champion from like a capital city and lead them to the opposing faction's capital city, or, you know, whatever, and then make it so they're like murdering everyone there, like, you know. And I think there does need to be some sort of limit on leashing of wandering bosses, just so you can't just be like, well, we're going to pull this into the neighboring node, you know, unless that is along its pathway.
Right. I think... Joke's on you. You accidentally went in the direction I was intending on going.
Yeah. I think Steven addressed that one, saying that leashing was going to be a long range, but it was gonna happen. And I think they even talked about what was a dev discussion. I forget if there was an outcome on it, about how if people like training and if that's a good thing to have in a game. And I think everybody said, yeah, no.
Except for me, because I misunderstood the assignment. I was like, training? I love training.
Let's go. Experience all day long.
Jamie's like, yeah, grief everybody.
On accident. I thought they meant like the some games where you have the dummies and you do training against the dummies to learn stuff or like perfect things. Yep. I was like, I love
Borderline
training.
Care Bear is like, let's murder everybody with monsters from the wild. Summon them from the mountains. We have blood to spill.
Quick, she's become a corrupted druid.
I feel like we've kind of gone towards bosses versus nodes a little bit, though. I know this isn't on our agenda, but like monster coins? Question mark?
Yeah, I think we're still waiting to hear about how that whole thing is gonna work.
Yep.
It's gonna work very funly.
I hope it is. Like, I'd love to come in, you know, you just mess up a town, just, you know, for whatever. Or like how they talked about, what was it, like last year? They talked about goblin raids or whatever. Like, that stuff sounds so cool. Like, I love when you have NPCs actually doing something against the player base because the player base is doing stuff in the world. Like, I think wasn't it Rift that had it where like the random creatures would, like, the portals would pop up and the players had to destroy them. If not, the portal creatures would attack the neighboring places and expand. Like,
Yeah,
I think
something like that.
Yeah. Like stuff
I didn't
like
get a
that.
chance to play Rift though.
Yep.
Made me kind of sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Rift.
But yeah, no, the concept in that one was that, you know, you had... are you familiar with ESO?
I'm familiar with it, but I've never played that one
Okay.
either.
So anyway, the idea is these portals open up around the world. Players have to go destroy these portals, because if they don't, stronger and stronger enemies start pouring out of them, and they start attacking neighboring towns and players and stuff. So like, it's actually AI that has an army moving out. So something like that would be really cool, especially with our corruption mechanic in the game. Like, you know, just seeing that the dark gods are pressing out and taking over the world.
Yeah. Huh, interesting. On a related note to the bosses and just things like that happening, there is this post by, I think, Balin from the forums. And they were talking about what if sounds in the game of different volumes could be heard far and wide. And a dragon spawns and makes a roar that can be heard very far away, giving information to those in the vicinity, or perhaps a world boss says something when engaged, maybe so loudly alerting others that, except for the encounter itself, contesting players become an issue too. In short, I think playing with sounds could make for interesting immersion and information. The idea of spells and monster sounds having an origin and a volume that decreases over a distance, thus giving you the ability to perceive beyond your screen and get a sense of your surroundings. What are your thoughts?
This kind of reminds me back to Nodes 1.
Yeah.
Remember when Steven's doing the immersive, like, this is what nodes do, and then he's like,
Yeah.
a dragon is awoken and starts like rumbling.
Yeah.
I could see that. Like, I want there to be, if a dragon awakens and it's like a once a month, once a week spawn or something, this is huge. Like, this is the dragon. That if it spawns, I want my screen to shake, like, across like the region I'm in. I want to hear this thing roaring. I want to see a volcano exploding in the distance, you know? Like, I want these things because these things are what make the world alive, you know? It makes it feel like you're actually doing something, you know? Because as a role player, that's going to make all your heroes be like, we need to rally up to go kill the dragon. And then all the people who are like, I don't want to mess with that dragon, you guys go fight it. You know, they'll be able to roleplay that, you know, people who are all brave and want to go fight the dragon, and the people who are, you know, I'll give you the swords you need to fight that dragon. So
Yeah.
You know
Like-
what I want, since you're talking about that? I want audible or audio cosmetics. That way, when you're a certain distance away from the dragon, it sounds like a little kitten meowing. Yeah.
yeah,
It gets really far away. Yeah.
But then we're getting the Skyrim Thomas the Tank Engine boss.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It gets a little ridiculous. It was a jokey request, but it would sound like fun.
No, I
To
could
mess around with it that
definitely
much.
see it. I do think, though, like, things like that for your own player would be cool. Like, if how you step, let's say your guy has like a fake leg, like it's a wooden plank leg or something. You could get a, I guess, pirate walk sound effect that when your character's walking, it's a normal footfall and then like a kerplunk, you know, like wooden plank sound. Those would be kind of cool to add in, I think. Or like maybe you could choose voice if they do eventually add in voice or something. But yeah, stuff like that would be really cool. As
Plus
much
3 chance
customization.
of peg leg falling through logs when you're trying to run through the
Oh
woods.
my gosh.
Oh my god, could you imagine? No, and then there's like a detached peg leg option when you get frozen to the ground.
Oh jeez.
Oh god. This is the game we want. This is why they need to release the game before we build up crazy stuff again.
But
yeah, go on.
I like the idea of all that. Especially the tune into target sounds though. Like just to rein us back into reality here.
Yeah.
The tune into target sounds actually it sounds like a fun idea, because especially as like a ranger, if you're out there and like, let's say you're trying to do your Phoenix, but let's say you're trying to do like some gathering of pelts and stuff like that, either to turn in at town or to do some leather working, and you can actually like target a deer and you miss it when you shoot and it runs away, but you can track it by sound because you keyed into those skills in your skill tree.
Yep. Well, I mean, let's be honest here. The best thing New World ever did was its sound. Like, the fact that when you hit a rock or you hit a tree, you actually felt it because you heard it. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we need in the world. We need that immersive sounds. And I kind of got that back when they were talking about tree felling. Like, what was that, 5-6 months ago? When they're doing gathering? Like, that's the stuff I love. Like, when I'm out and about, like, I want to hear that stuff. I want to see that stuff. So. Yeah.
And I know Phoenix Fire said, I get that for role players, but for the average player, I feel like it global message saying, yo, Dragon is up is just as good. And I mean, yeah, I do feel that, but like the game in general is like, it's meant to be more immersive in general, so very much looking forward to seeing just everything they do with that. I believe her name is Kat, right? I think Kat will do great with sound design. She already has with the ocean, to the point that I keep bringing this up. I know it's been so long by this point, but Vertec was going up to the water at one point and immediately called me over for me to come listen to him running towards the water. Just because he liked how immersive that was, and it's a nice touch, I think. So yeah,
it is.
And I'm gonna put a pin in that Phoenix Fire because that's a little bit off topic, but we'll get back to that for sure. The next thing I want to cover on game mechanics is the node type identity. The particular thing I wanted to point at is this person, you owe me cookie, wrote. And this is a bit of a read, so I don't expect you guys to read it right now. But kind of breaking down what they think the different stage 3 and above node type should be like. What are your thoughts?
Wait, node type identity here?
Yeah.
I guess
were you able to peruse this beforehand?
Yeah, what's the overarching summary of this one?
It was just generally like
so they're talking about layouts of nodes based on what type of node they are, right?
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
But that's how they would see them, particularly. Like, so what did you think of what they wrote, essentially, is what I'm asking.
Okay, so they're I'm reading through, and like kind of what I understand is that out of this is that they would do, military nodes might be a little more militant, might have stronger walls, might have more barracks and stuff like that. Academic having, structured, organized, I can see it being a positive thing. The last thing I want with design of nodes is I don't want it to be like New World where there's 3 town templates and they all look the same, Yeah. Like one thing that Steven talked about a while ago, again, was that nodes are going to be built to the land around them. So what I'm assuming is that the node footprint is going to stay the same in that area, but it's going to build around the world. So I am curious that, is it are the special buildings, like, is the Coliseum and is the Coliseum and like the auction house going to be in the same location? Because those are like the upper tier military and economic node, like, special buildings. Or are they going to be having different layouts? Like, what's town center going to look like? So, you know, I'm all for uniqueness, you know, like, yeah, I want the game to be here like everyone else, but I don't want New World, and I think the numbers speak for itself on New World, that people don't want New World. So we need to have a world that's immersive and unique. So, yeah.
Yeah. Personally, for me, I think that having something like this is not too far outside the scope of options, especially given Unity 5's generative tool.
Yep.
And I think it would allow them to be able to kind of sorry.
All good.
But anyway, it would be I don't even know what I was just saying.
UE5, how it has the randomized building mechanic stuff, yeah.
I think that would allow them to kind of generate something that would look more militant or look more academic in nature, and then place the housing on top of that in kind of a predefined area, especially for the default stuff, but then allow the non-default things, the things that the mayor adds in afterwards, to have those spots already available.
Right.
And I mean, on screen, we watched the building that they're building for the live stream kind of just develop itself, and the NPCs kind of pop up. And obviously this is going to be like probably days or like a week or two that this is actually going to take. But at the end of it, it's going to be, it's basically going to be like, yeah, anything. I don't know. Sorry, the pings are distracting a little bit. So
it's the jet lag. No, yep. I agree with what you're saying. Like the tools that we're gonna have in Unreal Engine 5, you know, we've even seen it with, you know, how the road upgrades and stuff will be, you know, like the fact is it seems like they'll be able to auto-populate to make things a little more unique. Like they might be able to code in stating, oh, if a node's going to be a military node, it'll have this kind of layout. I'm assuming and I'm hoping that we will have some Helm's Deep type fortresses or nodes in the world, maybe having more Minas Tirith stuff, you know, like I'm hoping that everything really is unique, you know, like when you go over to Node X, it's going to be the White City, or when you go to, you know, Node B, that it's going to be, you know, the Rohirrim lands and stuff like that. So it's important for uniqueness.
Right.
Yeah, I like the ideas that they put forth, having different organization types for the towns. Maybe not like you were saying, definitely not a cookie cutter, like they're all going to look like this, but at least a general idea on how they're structured. Like, for instance, military nodes are going to put, you know, like commanding officers and whatnot in central areas, and then surrounded by other buildings in a defensible manner, so like buildings are staggered on streets and stuff like that. Economic node, you know, the market's in the middle and all roads lead to the market, literally, so just directly to the market in the middle.
Right.
And yeah, divine nodes, obviously the stereotypical like angels singing murmur, so everything's focused on making the churches and places of worship stand out above the rest, either due to land elevations or placement.
The steeples need to look prominent, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You must have the goddess of sandals be above all. Sorry, goddess of palms. My bad. So chat says, well, ultimately the mayor is going to have some say in it from Esthea, but the basic elements should be similar in my opinion, so divide being something with holy stuff in it. So Lexia says, isn't the race that had the most influence on a node going to influence as well? Yes, it will. So there could be tons of differences in nodes based on the racial influence, right, and the player choice. Absolutely. And then Zalexia says, I think available nearby materials should have an influence on how a town looks as well. And yeah, I could agree with that. And apologies for the ad break. It's just one of those things where we try to keep the pre-roll at bay, so we kind of have a ad break once an hour. So we hope that you hit it maybe one time, at most twice during our podcast. We don't really like ads. We really don't like them at all. So we're sorry. We wish we could completely get rid of them. But then if you have a tech issue on your side, you might be hit with more than whatever that is.
I'm watching mountain climbing.
Okay. Yeah. But some ads are 60 minutes, but then if you have an issue and you need to reload, you get hit with another pre-roll, and we didn't like that, so.
Oh wait, it's not mountain climbing, it's a Subaru commercial. Well, today's tavern is brought to you by Subaru.
No, it's not. We are not affiliated. We are not being paid any money by them. We're not sponsored.
I'm the guest. I'm a monster here. Oh god. What was the next topic?
So the next thing I wanted to bring up is in addition to this, which was actually a comment that was left on our YouTube video from last week. And it's from David Sumter saying, I am hoping that nodes have specializations as well. This will ensure diversity for sure. Just as the artisan skills you can specialize in weapon type, node specialization can be more broad, say specializing in armor and weapons and arcane engineering, etc. No two scientific nodes of the same level will be the same.
Yeah, and I think that was the question that came up with even mentioning that it was an academic node instead of scientific.
Right.
Oh, so they're changing
it came up in conversation.
No.
That just came up in conversation as a theory. Do you think there's going to be different things?
Yeah. We were just talking in our last show about having different specializations for different general types of nodes. So. Toner towns will have mushroom buildings. Yeah, see, and I think that would be cool. And also, I thought this was a really interesting, idea / perspective on specialization. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that it would be cool to see if nodes could have almost a skill tree to go down. For example, the mayor is wanting to focus on the college route for the, an academic one, if you will, and see how things like that go. And then it builds up with that. Or it could go down more of a scientific route where it's less about learning and more about the actual implementation of the devices they're learning about. I think that stuff like that would be pretty cool.
Right. I would agree with that.
Colonel Sanders, by the way. Telling our towns will have mushroom buildings.
Yeah. Evening. Hi, Lizzie. I'm actually starting a poll right now because I was given a notification. So here's the new poll. Please vote as you prefer, one or two. but I'll leave that up for the next little bit. Let's see. I guess I'll just skip to random topics because I really wanted to talk about the Halloween event. So on the Mount Cosmetic skin from this month, for the final alpha key month, it says, on the 31st of Olitis, the traditional Varan holiday known as Demontide, the Unseen Order conducts an annual ceremony they call the Collection. At the stroke of midnight, any member of the sect who possesses a collector's touch glove gathered to conduct a blood-crazed invocation and summoning ritual. A torchlit forest clearing is filled with a cacophony of maniacal, disembodied laughter and the grinding, rumbling, and snapping of bones. Limbs and body parts from an untold variety of creatures animate and combine, forming the shambling, undead abominations known as the sacrificial remnants. These large, many-headed beasts drag themselves about on their hands and knees, scraping the ground with their oversized knuckle bones as they faithfully obey the orders of the cult leaders.
I'm looking forward to that one. Where does that go?
Yeah, me too.
I think it's just spooky. Like,
I love it.
It's you know what? The biggest thing I like about these cosmetics that they've showed us over the years, and is that it's giving us a glimpse of what's actually going to be in the world around us. Like, we've seen tree bark cultists. Mm-hmm. We've seen zealots that like protect the trees and will fight everyone else. We've seen dwarves who are traitors, siege dwarves, like all of these different things that give us glimpses into the world that we're coming into. And with the stuff we've seen so far, it seems like it's going to be really, really alive. Like, we're not going to be facing the same 5 enemy types and stuff. Like, everything's going to have a story to it.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. I feel that. I like how they've been adding lore to these packs. It's been very fun.
Love it.
Yeah, see, the thing I really wonder is if they're really going to follow the like real world calendar when they go to do these, so it's literally every real year, or if they're going to go by a game year, which is going to be 1 to 2 months. So like once a month there's going to be this this Demontide event.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would make things interesting in a way, but I'm not sure if it would be overtiring with some of these events if they're happening like every month.
Right.
What I would like to see is that we actually do get seasonal events, like how they always have like Christmas events and stuff like that, but instead of it always just being some random NPCs standing into town screaming about Christmas or whatever, I wish it would be like an actual, it changes the world around us, not in like everything's overhauled, but like suddenly the AI in your town are moving about in certain ways. There may be decorating, perhaps less patrols are happening because of it's a time of like peace. We're celebrating coming together or whatever. I don't know, little things like that could bring in more immersion. Like obviously not everything has to be about immersion, but I do think that since Steven is a role player, he really does not want things to just be a daily you do, a grind, and you don't think about it.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how things play out. I think it's not going to be perfect the first time around. There's definitely going to be some adjustments in timing and configuration of stuff.
Absolutely. right. Well, in an effort to get you out of here on time, and it seems like the people have spoken, at least those that have voted have spoken, and they would like Vertek and I to stay on for a little longer, but we will allow our guests to disconnect from the portal, as one might say. But before we do you have any final thoughts that you would like to leave our wonderful guests with this evening?
Well, first thing, I'd just like to thank you guys for having me on here again. It's always a blast to be on here. It's fun to talk about these topics and, hear everybody's different perspectives. What I will say is, even if you guys are not a role player, or you don't have experience with it, look into it. See about like making the world more immersive and getting lost in it, because the whole point of role playing is to get immersed, to take something that is given to you and add more to it that the mechanics of the game can't give you. So that's, what I would say is, guys, try roleplay. You don't have to join the community. You don't have to join a roleplay guild, but live in the world. Like, genuinely lose yourself in it. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and I'm very much looking forward to losing myself in Ashes of Creation in various ways, including just trying to find my way to something and then getting lost along the way.
Phoenix, that does count as roleplay, so...
There you go.
But anyway,
Good
you
story.
guys have a great night. Thank you for having me on here. And if you guys are interested in my guild, check out the links or message me on Discord. So everybody have a great night.
Have a great night, Anduin.
You too. Thank you for joining us.
Yep, we'll see you guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Enter sweet, sweet animation portal as it disappears.
Bye,
animation,
portal.
I mean. Bye.
Portal power down.
I too will become Marshall
Mathers.
Love it. So there's some other things that I wanted to talk about since I entered into the random topic section. I wanted to chat about the question for pre-order packs update, or upgrade rather. As we know, or if you don't know, Intrepid put out that this month's pack are going to be the last pack that you can use to get Alpha 2 access. And they are quite awesome. I would like to show them later. But this brings up the question, can I upgrade my pre-order pack after sales for the pre-order packs end? And the answer is yes. You will continue to have the option to upgrade your pre-order pack to a higher tier package after sales of pre-order packs end. If you upgrade, it will not give you the cosmetic items of the same type that came with the previous pack you purchased. Only the additional cosmetic items from the upgrade to the Unseen Order pre-order pack will be granted. So, thought that was interesting. Let me go to their verbiage because I do not want to speak on behalf of them on accident.
You're talking about the other ones as well, the other packs?
I think so, but this is the final pre-order packs that are available with Alpha 2. Which is interesting because I'm kind of curious because they didn't specify Alpha 2. I'm sure by context they mean Alpha 2, but they said we'd like to inform our glorious community these will be the final pre-order packs that are available, and just left it at that, which one might accidentally misunderstand as ever. So just wanna put that one out there in case anybody from Intrepid is listening. You might wanna look at that copy just to make sure it's clear. But Yeah, I think this was meant to be the final pack for Alpha 2 keys.
Yeah, let me I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up on screen here. If you scroll down, there's an FAQ at the bottom as well.
Oh, okay,
there's
cool.
a little bit more detail.
I did not get that far. I just looked at the nice. I won't say pretty this time. The nice cosmetics. The shiny
yeah,
cosmetics.
they're not exactly what I would call pretty.
Yeah. Oh, they said yes. They said, does this include the Beta 1 and Beta 2 pre-order packages as well? And said yes, while we anticipate we will reopen the ability to purchase beta packages in the future, these options will not adopt the same format of regularly occurring monthly exclusive cosmetics. Interesting. That's an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We may want to go ahead and read that through, because there may be some other people who missed it.
Yeah. No, that's... Yeah, these are the first ones all year I'm considering buying. Yeah, yeah. Interesting. They said when the pre-order packs end, will there be other items on the Ashes Creation shop? They said that we may provide cosmetic items and merchandise in the shop at a future date, which sounds like they're not doing the... And I'm not meaning in this in a negative way. This is just literally what it is. The FOMO cosmetic packs. It sounds like there's going to be no more of those.
I'm gonna say I'll be kind of happy about that myself.
Yeah, I know that we, as well as many others that we've had either in our chat or on, have been frustrated over the years by the short turnaround and the FOMO-ness of everything. Sorry,
yeah,
it sounded like you were gonna say something.
Yeah, I was just making sure you finished up too.
I was done. Aw, thank you.
But yeah, I know I do like having things that other people don't have, and you know, I got these because I was there, and I got these because I went through the thing. And why did that not transition over? Weird. It showed the thing, but it didn't show the whole thing.
Hey, yeah, that looks nice. Did we want to move over to the large screen and maybe show off the large screen at the same time, or is that not quite set up yet?
I would need to do a little bit of configuring, but I can do that on the fly.
Okay,
I don't mind.
I put in a lot of time and effort last week. If you guys didn't notice, our whole overlay changed.
Yeah, just bear with us while we shift over. I might need to add audio to that one too, so it might take me a couple seconds.
Please wait, you know elevator music.
Right?
So here's the thing with the one and done. I have a Snorris and it's amazing. If someone really, really wants that Snorris, they could probably sell them my account for $500. That kind of sucks. Yeah, I mean...
Okay, I believe we have audio now. We have audio now.
I was making a joke that Anduin's back.
Yeah, I gotta go through and there we go. Get out of there. Okay. I couldn't say what you were saying. You was talking. I was talking. I was saying that I think while that is technically true that you could sell your account, I don't think it's quite looked upon kindly by Intrepid to do a thing like that. But I mean, I can't speak for them. I do not speak on, like,
on behalf of them. But yeah, no, I know that. I'm just saying in general for those that might be wondering. What happened to the video? Nothing happened to the video. This is a brand new overlay. It's just gonna take us a minute to get it together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's taking me a minute. We just got this set up and getting it loaded in today, so...
Yep, give Vertex some slack today because I gave him this stuff last weekend, but he was very slammed with work while I was gone on my work vacation. Which was not at all a vacation. I don't know why I said vacation. Jet lag setting in once again. But to buy some time, just as an FYI regarding the most recent live stream, there will be an office hours on September 19th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So here is the link to that, and they're going to be talking about general node discussions, village node visuals, and mayoral activities. And just dream nodes, which is what it says when it comes to choosing a node for yourself, where you'll become a citizen, and what makes node locations desirable for you. I think that's going to be an interesting thing. So yeah, and then I'm gonna see. I don't even know what time that is. Hold on, 19. That's the middle of my workday. Cool. I really do hope that they start doing some varied times instead of always 2 p.m. my time, because I'm usually in a meeting during that day and time. It would be cool if they had some on the weekends, but I get it. They do the work thing, you know, Monday through Friday like I do. So yeah, that means they'd have to work on a weekend day. Yeah. But also, while Vertec is getting everything set up, another thing I'm going to distract you with for Shiny is, if you haven't already, there's a feedback request for your Alpha 2 Village node update for August. So feel free, if you haven't already, to go there and give your feedback, because I think that's important. Although I don't know how much my feedback is going to be all that helpful, because my feedback is just, I don't like the idea of the inns being housing for the majority of the players. When you are a citizen of a node, I don't know, I feel like if I live in a city, I should have a house, or an apartment. That's very loud, apparently.
And welcome everyone to
the video that you just put on.
Not supposed to have volume.
It's because I muted it. Sorry. I muted it in the previous scene for you ahead of time. So, yeah, it's supposed to be muted.
Alright, it means that's gonna be fun to clip in the video after the fact. Alright.
Well, I guess it's a good thing that we record all of our videos on Zoom, so. Did I understand this correctly? The last pack will be available until January? I think that is the understanding. I think so.
Yeah, that's the very next thing I'm doing, is pulling that information right back up on the screen, too.
I deviated from it so that we could get back to it. Because this was a question that other people had on the forums as well, and I'm just going to put this back up here as well, paste. Oh, I'm not the one editing. He was just saying it wasn't supposed to have sound, and I was explaining I had muted it, which is why it wasn't supposed to have sound. I don't think he had quite realized I had muted it. But Talents actually asked the same question, saying, so You can still upgrade your pack once January 17th passes. And Roshan responds, yes, that is what that means. Both add-on cosmetics from the Unseen Order and upgrades will continue to be available after the Unseen Order ends. Not forever, but longer than January of 17th, 2024. So, just putting that info out there, just in case, because a few other people had that same question. And Talent's to the rescue with asking the questions. Oh, yeah. I think it's ideal if you're going to... So, I think this is a great idea. And the reason why I'm going to say that is because if you're going to cut off sales, it's ideal to give people a time frame to be able to, one, save up for it, because Alpha 2 is not cheap for a lot of people. Two, be able to hear about it, because just because you said something was from this time to that time, with the typical 1 month time frames that they typically have, that's a little short in my opinion. If I didn't closely follow Ashes of Creation, I probably would miss a lot of those. Heck, I do follow Ashes of Creation closely, and I still miss a lot of those. But that one's on me. It's one of those, oh, I'm gonna do it later. I'll do it, like, I'm busy right now, I'll do it later. And then later comes and goes, and the new cosmetic comes, and I never got the thing that I was intending on getting, like last month's necklace.
That's happened to me so many times. I can't even count it.
Yeah, I feel that, Zalexia. I feel that. My love, you are so far away from me. The distance between us. It makes our hearts grow fonder.
Precisely.
So Alpha 2 starts on January 18th, confirmed. Oh, you're hilarious. Though I do want to know, like, what does that say for the timeline, right? Very curious. Very, very curious. And they did say that before Alpha 2 begins, they're going to be announcing the official content creators. So, very curious indeed. Shall we cover some other questions from the community, or was there other things they want to cover on this real quick?
Sorry, my brain blinked while you were saying that last bit. You said before Alpha 2, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what Maggie had said.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you didn't say anything else that maybe I missed, like a certain date or something.
Oh, no, nobody knows any dates. She just said that a couple of times when they were initially starting to talk about Alpha 2 timelines, she had mentioned that they would pick the official CCs before that, and people would know. Still betting on May. You know what? I'm just here for the ride at this point. I can't make heads or tails of it, so it'll get here when it gets here. And if it gets here faster than I expected it to, then I'm happy. If not, then I understand, because these are so in-depth. So. Veritech?
Yeah?
It seems like you have something on the screen. Do you want to talk about it?
Oh, no, I just put it up there while we were reading through it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I was just picking out certain ones. I wasn't reading through every single one of them. I just thought you were picking those to read specifically.
Showing it up there because it looks like people
they're here.
Maybe missed some of these.
Yeah, hiding it all the way at the bottom. For shame.
Meh.
Honestly, though, they should, because you can link, and this is the web dev in me. I'm sorry. FAQ at the top should be linked to an ID or an anchor for the FAQ section at the bottom to get there quickly. Yeah, that's just,
definitely have a little bit of info on. There is more information down at the bottom. You might want to read it.
But also that highlights, because for this one, it's interesting. For this one, they have all the links blue, but in the other pages, they have the links like golden. But it would set it aside from all of the white bolded text at the top. I think that would be really nice. I'm personally hoping it comes after Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, so I don't have to rush. I feel that. Where'd my reflexes and arthritis? Oh no, just don't get arthritis. Oof, Asthea. As long as they have good internet, then you'll be good. Yeah. Honestly, you guys are funny. You guys are hilarious. Will do be back in September. Oh man. No, now you just sent Wizzy off for a whole year. I'll never see Wizzy again. I'll be so sad.
No.
Don't
do it.
Should I go over some of these other questions that people just generally had within the community?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Okay. So questions from the community. How are player level, node level, and monster level connected? And the general answer I got is that monsters don't scale with the player levels. That the way that it currently works is node level dictates the content. So for example, when the game is new and there are no servers built up, there will only be low level content, so mobs, quests, events, etc. As nodes begin to come online, higher level content will become available. This means leveling is kind of time gated at launch, as you may hit level 20 really fast, but there won't be any village nodes on the map yet, which means there's no real way for you to level past 20 for the time being. That sounds interesting. I didn't really think about it in that manner. Additionally, mobs level up alongside the nodes, but just because a node is a metropolis doesn't mean all the mobs around the metropolis are 50 plus legendary mobs that will one-shot you. In different areas around the node, there'll be a mixture of mobs of different levels. You may walk along a road near a metropolis and see level 10 mobs to the side, but then stray off the path and come across a level 50 mob, for example. Well, somebody said, so you're basically forced to level around the nodes, people are leveling up. I don't quite believe that, because if other nodes out there are not really built up, or like, I don't know, if they're either not built up or they are built up or not to the same degree, then I think there's still a lot of options available for where to like do quests. It's just you're not going to get as many of the niceties of being near a node that's leveled up. For example, with the village thing or the town or whatever. Like there's nothing to get better armor and better equipment with.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting how that pans out, because honestly, like it'll be possible to level beyond what the monster is for sure.
Yeah.
Because I'd be curious who hits max level on monsters that are, well below it. And I just mean like during that testing phase. Like if the max of a certain phase of testing is like 25, before they increase it all the way up to, I think 35 or something is what they're going for, 30. But either way, they cap it out at like 25. But you can only get the node stages up to where monsters are level 10. There's going to be somebody out there grinding all day, every day, and they're going to hit that max level 25 before any node starts producing level 20 creatures. It's going to happen.
Yeah. I'll let you know as I intended to be rolled first. Okay. Do we know if node level equals mob levels? That was already something that one of, I think, who was it? Talents? Hold on, let me get back to it again. I closed out of it. Yeah, it was Talents. Talents was saying that node level does not equal mob levels, but mobs do level up as the node levels up. So just because a node is metropolis does not mean that it's 50 plus. And I'll share the link so that you can kind of read through at your leisure. For
the
like some of the other
and full of
responses. Yeah, exactly. In actual reality, I have 3 kids and will probably not hit max level for 3 weeks. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I think it also makes sense though, right? If you are near the village, the closest thing to the safest place for you is near the village. The dumb and tiny level monsters would kind of hang out there. The ones that are like goblins that are like level 10 or something, for example, or tigers or something that are keeping their distance but are close enough for proximity. And then the more intelligent life forms would be like, no, if I stay over there, they're just going to beat me down constantly. I'm staying further out, or I'm making camp over here in this kind of hidden part of the mountains or something like that. Things like that. I think that also makes sense, is what I'm getting at. The closer you are to safety, the less of a threat things are.
Yeah. And we'll see how it pans out, because also looking at just the size of the nodes, I mean, that's a lot of area, but that's not like a lot of area for a metropolis to actually have level 10s or even potentially lower. Mm-hmm. But let's just say level 10 all the way up to level 50,
right,
in a relatively small area. I mean, it's basically like you take Stormwind and WoW and add a little bit of area around it, and that's going to have from level 10 to 50. Pretty intense. It's going to be scary to go out there as a level 20.
The next thing that I wanted to add is you guys can't tell tonight, but if you've been to some of our other shows, we have an ultra wide monitor. And so somebody was asking about with the ultra wide screen being able to move the UI, because otherwise, if you can't, looking at Steven's screen, having the health bar all the way in the top left corner and then chat all the way in the bottom right corner, for example, that's really far apart, and it takes your focus very far off and away. And they were talking about being able to have things a little bit more central and bringing things to kind of come back into that 1080 viewport that most people are used to seeing. And I think my personal response is, I think yes, Ashes will account for that. You should be able to move everything UI. But the cool thing that I wanted to bring up, some people started talking about being able to pop things out of the game like I can with Twitch, and put it on separate monitors. So you can take your chat and pop it out of the game and put it on a separate monitor altogether.
I like these.
So I thought that was really neat. Yeah, I'm 100% sure they will have good support for ultra wide. Yeah, probably. I hope they make the UI options and placement options very dynamic. I think they already have. I mean, I love just looking at what's on the screen besides the very distracting cape, which is the top right has the very thin bar with lots of
distracting cape.
Yes, that has lots of information on it with the drop down square map thing. I don't know how much I might make that tiny, to be honest. That's alone is a little too big for me. I don't need it that big. I'd probably zoom in and make it a little smaller. Yeah, another reason for me to want to spend money. It feels bad, but yet so good, right? I've honestly loved it as a web developer. I've loved having the ultra wide screen and get to see so much more code.
You do. You get to see a lot more of everything.
I do. It's amazing. It makes my life feel better.
I want to see if I can save up money and buy a cheap one for work.
There you go. Yeah.
Doesn't need to be amazing or high performance. Just big and widescreen. That's all I need.
Just do the job, please. That's just give me from A to B. Right. Ultra wide for coding equals right. So this is important to us, my love. Question about family names. Since characters will have a first name and an optional surname, last name, when you join a family, does your last name automatically change to the family name? Or if you didn't enter a last name beforehand, will it just be added on? Thought this was interesting.
Yeah, I think it might end up being interesting to see it pan out. Where, if I recall correctly, something about the reason surnames even exist is because of different plagues and whatnot, and then people would travel across like wide breadths of the wilderness to be with another town that got half decimated, and suddenly there's John from this town, and then there's John from the other town, so they needed to add last names.
Oh my gosh, I love these responses. Yeah. So Phoenix Fire says, going to say too early to tell, but Galwood played into it, and so did a few others. Galwood says the family name is Terror Bird. Wizzy says, if that's the case, I'm not getting married, or they're taking my last name, Mr. McNasty and Company. And then Isthea says, I'll just have a first name. That's more than enough for a peasant like me.
My old name was Hey You. Anything's better than that, right?
Nair says, I'll try to get something super corny like Nair the Terror.
Oh, jeez.
No, you're fine. You're correct, though. I just did not know where people were going to go. It was a 50-50. I didn't expect people to play into it, so I found that amusing. But I would have taken the same response as you. Yeah, I think it is too early to tell, but I really do hope that they offer at least something where, like, you can choose whose last name, or my favorite new thing that people have been doing more recently, instead of the traditional taking the husband's name, or more recently, wife's name, they've just been smashing their last names together to form a new last name, like a new family name.
Gonna make it a pain in the neck in like 100 years when some kid's like, let's trace my family tree. What's going on here? Are these people even related?
Are you using the... Nope, okay, never mind. It's the entire YouTube or Twitch video. Never mind. But yeah, like, your last name is Telemon. I don't think I ever... I guess technically this character is Aurelia Clevertold. So it would be like... Clever Amon.
Teletold.
Teletold. So like it would be
or Clevermon.
Clevermon. Yeah. Now I sound like a Pokemon of sort. Hi, I'm Chibi Clevermon. Aurelia Clevermon. Oh my gosh, I hate it. Okay, moving on.
I love it.
No.
We're doing it.
Loose Theron Telemon? Uh-oh.
I
think you were found out.
See, you've been reading a good book series. There may be some relation. Can neither confirm nor deny.
Right. I kind of want to... I don't know. Should we talk about this My Bro Vero post?
Sure. Let's do it.
Okay. I felt like next week would be too long because we have 2 guests next week, so we're going to be like a little bit crunched on time. TB1 is cute though. Aw, thanks. So this title is a little bit baity, I'm going to say. It says no white knights here, but what they mean is they would really like to know the honest and real and logical opinion instead of like defending anything. They're just asking for your actual opinion. Twice as long stream? I don't know about that, guys. We have 2 people that we have to contest for, not just one other person. So the number one thing is, what do you think AOC will fail in? You can talk about anything, either PvP, PvE, optimization, etc. I think they've already kind of begun failing in... Oh my gosh, no. Never. You guys are getting a 24-hour live stream soon, okay? You do not need a 4-hour podcast. You want a 4-hour live stream? How about we get to 40 subscribers? Yeah? We'll get to 40 subscribers. I'll do a tavern talk. I'll pull in at least a couple of other content creators. We'll sit here and we'll just talk ashes. You do that, that's what we'll do, okay? But... more time for people to subscribe. Trying to use it against me. So they're generally asking, like, what kind of things do you think Ashes will fail in? And I think they're kind of, in my personal opinion, already kind of failing a little bit in the execution of the housing system and a little bit in the execution of PvE. And I only say that because there's barely like 20% is supposed to be instanced. I'm grateful to have an instanced anything. Thank you. Oh, yeah,
Hey,
cheers.
thank you. Cheers
Thank you.
indeed.
And I'm excited. Don't get me wrong. Like, these are my honest, brutal opinions. Like, a little bit. It's not enough for me to not like the game. It's not enough for me to not play the game. But it's enough for me to be like, it's not what I prefer, but I'll take it, you know? And then the second thing with the housing is, I mentioned this earlier. If I live in a node and I'm a citizen of that node, I should not be living in a Motel 6.
Yeah. Yeah, see,
both in the high-end PvE and PvP, yeah.
Yeah, see, those are the two areas, excuse me, the two areas where I think that if they're going to be failing in something, it's going to be those two. It's going to be housing in general, and it's going to be because of the massive amount of open world PvE objectives. Because it's going to be driving away competitive PvE people. Competitive PvP people will still have their node sieges, their castle sieges, their arenas and tournaments and stuff like that. So PvP will still have competitive PvP in contained circumstances. Competitive PvE will have quote-unquote some dungeons and some raids. Because they're not going to be able to focus on anything unless they literally spend all of their money to hire multiple PvP guilds to defend them. In which case, the only people getting rich and whatnot are going to be the PvP people, and PvE is not going to be able to be as competitive because they have to sell half the gear that they pick up in the raid just to be able to go to the raid and be unmolested. And that's if there's only one entrance.
Right. Right. So like we obviously have our viewpoint of like where the pitfalls are. Some of the things the chat's been saying is that I think they'll fail to have a highly tuned endgame bosses, probably be the equivalent to like WoW Heroic or end bosses at best.
Yeah.
Asaya likes the Rift housing, and said if Ash's housing is anything similar, it's going to be amazing.
Well, see, here's my response to that is I think that the way that they're designing the housing units themselves and how the housing plots function, I think it's all fantastic. But I think the fact that there's an entire world of people who are trying to come back and resettle and reclaim a land, etc., you know, go back home basically, and they're going to be living in a hotel for the majority of their life.
Yeah.
Because at first there was hope that some people had that there were going to be enough apartments to house everybody, but then in the last live stream they said even apartments are going to be hard to come by. And that's assuming that there's going to be at least a couple mayors that are going to go full tilt into getting all the apartments in there.
Right. Well, another thing that they said was from Phoenix Fire specifically, they haven't said anything in a long time about organized PvP. And Asaya said that he thinks PvE dungeons and raids are going to be a huge problem for AOC. And to follow that up, I don't see how what they've envisioned is going to be something PvE players will enjoy in the long run. But to counter that, Galwood said, I think Ashes will attract those PvE players towards other shiny aspects of Era. And that Galwood used to be one of the PvE players as well, after all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm big on PvE, and I'll say that was honestly probably the reason that I quit playing SWTOR. When it came out, I was doing the same thing that we're doing here. I was involved in a podcast and a website for a fan site, basically, doing interviews and talking to people, meeting the developers, going to cons and hanging out with people, doing videos there. And it was all very much hey, yeah, we're going to be adding this and that and the other. But PvP isn't going to be really competitive. There's going to be like a leaderboard, but it disappears at the end of the match and you'll never see that number again.
Yeah.
And we figured, okay, well, at least there's raids, right? Like there's raids, cool. But then the competitiveness of those got flushed down the drain because you could do dailies to get top tier raid gear. Like dailies, like go like help John the John the Jedi find a new crystal for his lightsaber, and you go and you kill a few slugs in the marsh, get some money, and get him a new crystal, and there you go. You now have top tier raid gear. And that's what caused a lot of people to leave, because the competitiveness wasn't there. There was no reason to go in and try to raid content and try to be like, hey, look, we did it.
Yeah. Nair says the hardcore PvE players won't stay just for the end game PvE, I think, but it's way too early to predict what type of players the game will attract or scare off. And I kind of agree, because we can't really even fully play it yet. Gamers aren't that one-dimensional usually. The hardcore PvE or PvP players might just love the game for other reasons too. And then Phoenix Fire, and I'm trying to keep up with these. I'm sorry, they're so long, and yeah. Phoenix Fire says hardcore PvP players, which I am not, usually want some arena format or whatever is supported by AOC. And AOC barely has even acknowledged this crowd and seems to be trying to force open world PvP. I felt like that was a part of there was a whole dev
live stream about that. Arenas, yeah.
That was a part of the military node, I believe. And it's old enough that I'm sure people who have joined since then probably haven't heard anything about it, but like it has been a while since they mentioned anything about it.
Yeah, because they flat out said there's going to be arenas, and one of the dev live streams was covering that, like watching the building of an arena. It was they were talking about how you have to balance the starting points and running in around the towns and all this and that. Well, yeah, they mentioned it once in 5 years, but they said, hey, this is going to be in and it's going to be a thing, and there was 0 questions about it.
And additionally...
Whereas for other stuff, there's still questions floating around that they have to answer, so it keeps getting brought up.
Right. Additionally, there's a lot of other things that have been mentioned once, but they didn't change. They were just mentioned the one time.
Yeah. But, I mean, like you're saying, though, I mean, there's a lot of other stuff to the game as well, outside of just going and raiding. So I don't think that I'm going to be dissuaded from it just based on that fact alone. Yeah. Because it has my interest in other areas. And they haven't shown that there's going to be anything like terrible about the game. There's just some things that I don't like. Yeah. Yeah, I don't PvP either, but I'm just saying, just because they only mentioned it once in 5 years, there's a lot of things that they have to cover. Ashes is huge. I mean, look at how little... I'm just gonna say this again. Look at how little we learned from the nodes video. That was an hour long. That was already pretty in-depth for the little tiny segment that we saw. And that's not even everything nodes. That's a tiny piece of nodes, right? So it's huge. There's so much to it. There's a reason why it takes a lot of us content creators like many months and stuff to fully cover stuff, I think. Unless you very briefly cover everything. Yeah, we haven't even gotten to end level nodes yet. Yeah, Phoenix Fire, you may want to have your friends look back into Ashes and actually read through some of the wiki about PvP stuff, because it's definitely going to be a PvP game.
Yeah, it's far too early to write it off, in my opinion.
There's a monthly battle for a giant castle.
Yeah.
Like, how much more organized and epic can you be? It's going to be, what, 250 v 250? Battle for a castle, and then you get tax money from the land to build the castle defenses up and defend it next month.
In addition, Wizzy said it won't be a game for gankers. It'll be great for a game for people who like open world PvP, though, because there is a difference. But yeah, I think so as well. And the second part is, what things do you think are the greatest potential that Ashes of Creation could have if properly developed? And there's that. PvP. There's the crafting systems. I think that's at least driving me towards this. There may not be as much PvE content for me as I would have liked, but the crafting system seems cool. That's what I'm interested in, at least. Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like a little bit of fun, at least so far. We haven't gotten a lot of details on exactly how everything's going to work, but from what I've heard, it sounds like it'll be more interesting than most.
Yeah.
Especially because they're incentivizing it. Best gear, right? Best gear is crafted gear. There's finally some incentive to craft. My thing is, as generic as it is, because everybody says it, there's a reason everybody says it, just everything involving the nodes and leveling up based on player activity. That's it. There's so many other worlds that like developers will craft the world and make it respond to players by making it do stuff, but they have to push buttons and make that happen instead of building the world that's going to grow and level and expand and interact based on what players do. Yeah.
Also, I mean, I have a lot of friends that do PvP in other games, and they make their own 3v3s, their own 5v5s. They just get together with friends and they enjoy that. But I get that that's not a system, right? That's just you playing. But what if they did do something where you got some sort of currency for doing that on your own, right? That would be kind of cool, I think.
Yeah. Trying to remember what they said about the
I feel like that's
sizes
what the arena is supposed to be.
For the arenas, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think it was another one of those weird sizes like the raids are. Arenas will have 1, 3, 5 man, and possibly 20 man deathmatch group sizes.
Can you share that link?
There you go. Yeah, they're gonna have 1, 3, 5, and potentially 20 man PvP arenas. Might be some kind of elo system that gets flushed out on a seasonal basis.
Sorry, in Rift you could make your own PvP matches. It was a housing option.
Nice.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, there's a arena ladder system. Arenas will have a minimum level requirement to participate. There won't be bifurcated brackets and separate player pools. The arena system may support cross-server combat. See, like they are catering to PvP. Like these are all things that I've heard PvPers talk about often enough that I know they're big desires.
And I mean, for that reason alone, that's why I feel like they kind of lean closer to PvP people than PvE people, because PvE people don't really care. Like, I'm speaking from a person who particularly likes only PvE, not PvX, PvE. And I feel like most PvE people don't really care about open world PvP. So you're not doing anything for me there. And with the bosses being barely instanced at all, you know, there's that too. Like, it's open world PvX 90% of the game, and then a heavier lean to PvP than PvE in my perspective.
Yeah. Well, D4 Phoenix.
D2.
Yeah.
R2D2.
But to be fair, also, all the information about the Kickstarter rewards is also, how many years old? 6 years old? Almost 6.5 now? But you know that those things are still in place because they haven't said that might change. Everything else they've talked about, there's changes too. And that's the reason they keep coming up.
Yeah.
But I think the PvP stuff is still all going to be basically the same as it was before.
Yeah. I mean, the wiki is there. The wiki is cited, and the wiki is kept up to date. And all the information is within the wiki, thanks to Lex and friends.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll see.
There's a reason why we heavily use it here on this podcast, because I love the fact that they sort everything, or cite everything, sort. They do sort it though, too. You can search for anything. But I meant citing.
But yeah, we'll see. I see what you're saying, D4. I understand where you're at. I understand where you're at.
Yeah. I live in PvP. I don't know why I'm talking for these people. No, I'm just saying. Because
you're a good friend.
Yeah, you're a good friend for that. And we're not like dogging on you. We're just saying, hey, like, let them know that they're essentially walking out on a game that might be more geared for them than they think, just because you're not seeing that in the live streams. There's a lot of things that they haven't even displayed in the live streams yet, right? So just because you haven't seen it in a current, most recent live stream doesn't mean that it's not a thing. And I think most of what Vertec and I are trying to come from is like, we genuinely think that they might enjoy this game and that they shouldn't just write it off so easily, but rather look into it a little bit more. But yeah, right, isn't it 52 days between? I think so. Yeah, it's a big amount of time. It's a decent amount of time to not go overboard with the castle sieges, I think. Yeah, same as people don't seem to understand what alpha actually stands for. They're expecting a finished game. It's because a lot of people, game devs of other countries and cultures, deliver something that they call an alpha. And after enough people doing that, it skews what the word alpha means. It's like if I start redefining what, I don't know, a snorse is.
Snorse is a snorse. Of course.
If enough people, of course. If enough people start misdefining a word, it loses its original meaning and the purpose of the word. So, thus, alpha. But, alpha. But we have gone quite on, and I've already delayed the ad from coming up again, which definitely told me that we were going for far too long. Sorry for a lot of the technical difficulties that we had. I'm not sure if we're intending on cutting that later or not. But again, I got this overlay done last weekend, and Vertec has just been very swamped with work while I was gone, and was kind of trying to get stuff set up nicely for it today, so you guys can have a nice overlay to look at. So thank you, big thank you on behalf of Supreme Phoenix. We have all the links down below in the description of our Twitch channel for the people that have contributed to things via art or other things like that. And we are grateful, and this whole overlay is actually something that I rendered from Supreme Phoenix's Blender file of a 3D tavern. You would not believe that looking at this, but I love it. This is amazing. Thank you so very much. But a big announcement is that we have planned our Halloween charity event for this year, next month, Friday at 11:59 p.m. on October 27th. That is Eastern time. I am putting it on the schedule. I will be making an announcement. Actually, for the kids. We're going to do the same stuff that we did last year, where you can choose to donate to us directly or through our Extra Life stuff. And if you go through the Extra Life, that's awesome. If you give it to us, then we take that and we go over to Intrepid's Extra Life and we dump it on them and cause mayhem and lore to happen. That was very fun last year. We really appreciate all of you who joined in. Last year, we raised a total of $700. That blew us way out of the water. And this year, I hope that we can go past that, go beyond that. And I'm still planning stuff. If you're interested in being involved, we're doing a lot more multiplayer games this year. We're doing a lot more... we're doing a different D&D one-shot that should not take 6 hours. We're doing Heroes of Barcadia, which is a very fun 8-player game where your drink is your health bar, but you're playing essentially a D&D pre-made character. And then Phasmophobia, Dead by Daylight, and all in between. So we hope you'll enjoy it. And some of the September goals may or may not affect the October goals. For example, if we get to one of them. If we get to one of them, you guys can affect how I'm playing what do you call that again? What type of Souls game? Right? Souls?
Yeah, Dark Souls. Yeah, Dark Souls type game. And Wizzy, have a good night.
Yes. Have a great night. But my big takeaway from all of this is I'm very excited. I'm also terrified that you guys are going to make me play a Dark Souls game, which I'm very halfway excited, halfway terrified for. Actually, no, that's right. This month's goal is to have me play a Dark Souls game. Next month's, some of the other goals that are go up to it are to affect my Dark Souls games. That's how we decided to do it. That's right. So yes. TGFTavern is the guild you are in accepting new members. Always. We are always accepting new members. We are a part of Nexus. Actually, I don't even know if we have a Nexus command. We might. Nope, I guess not. Maybe guild? Nope.
Yeah,
guess
I think
not.
we did. Yeah, I think a while back, I think we decided we were going to be guild agnostic and not really advertise guilds unless there was somebody on with us.
Yeah.
Not saying like to be agnostic, like not represent Nexus. I mean, we love them. We love everybody there, but
it's just to keep us in a more neutral standpoint as a podcast.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Okay, now everybody's fighting over Oracle. On that note, why don't we head on over to some chaos and some lace?
I think it's just a chaos. I'm not sure there's a lace.
Oh, there's no lace today?
I think lace is just a chatting.
Okay,
there's a Jamie Chaos, there's a Nuclear Tango, and a Mio Nikoi.
Okay, so let's raid over for some tangents of creation.
Wow. Alright, well, thank you everybody for joining us. It's much appreciated. You spent your time here. You spent your texting on the computator with us. You spent the time being the most important, right? I mean, could have been anywhere. Could have been wandering all around your house looking for things to do while you wait for ashes to come out. Instead, you were here with us waiting for ashes to come out. And that means a lot. But we love you all. You've shown support in the best way possible by just hanging out with us. We love you for it.
Yes.
So, until next week, take care and goodbye.